Morning light crept through the cathedral-high windows of Ashbourne Estate, washing the marble floors in a soft, winter gold shimmer. Elena Marlowe moved through that light with the quiet efficiency of someone who understood the rhythm of a house better than the people who owned it. She'd learned the creaks in the floorboards, the quirks of antique thermostats, the precise sound each chandelier made when it was settling. Years of service had given her something close to invisibility, the kind that made guests overlook her entirely, and made wealthy employers speak freely as though she were an inanimate part of the decor. Elena preferred it that way. A quiet life was easier to protect. She folded each embroidered napkin with the same careful gesture she'd done for 7 Christmas seasons, smoothing the edges until they sat like small paper swans on the polished table. The rest of the staff wouldn't arrive for another hour, but Elena always came early. Dawn was the safest time. Dawn was when her world was most predictable. She hummed under her breath, an old lullaby, soft and steady until her throat tightened and she forced herself to stop. Not today. Not when the holidays were so close and memories sharpened like glass. In the adjoining conservatory, frost clung to every leaf. Beyond that, the gardens stretched toward the horizon, trimmed hedges, manicured roses, a fountain frozen mid-arc. The estate looked peaceful, as though the world wasn't bracing for another bitter winter storm, one already forming in the distant hills. Elena placed the last napkin and stepped back, rubbing her palms together. She should have felt proud the table was perfect, but a heaviness had settled behind her ribs ever since the night before, when she'd whispered a wish that should have stayed locked inside her heart. I wish I could share a Christmas meal with my son, just once. She had thought she was alone. She hadn't been. A footstep echoed softly from the other end of the hall, but she didn't turn. Only one person in this house walked with that particular mix of tiredness and intention, heels striking hard enough to announce presence but with a quiet drag at the end of each step. A man who'd worked himself into exhaustion for so long that weariness had carved itself into his stride. Alexander Ashbourne. Billionaire, philanthropist, widower, owner of the estate, employer of more than 60 staff members. To the public, he was all steel and control. To his board, he was the razor-sharp mind who built an empire out of nothing. But to the people who worked in his home, he was a ghost who drifted through rooms without ever fully entering them, a man living in a house too large for his grief. He paused behind her. Elena kept her gaze on the table, back straight, hands steady. She'd learned long ago how to appear unshakable. "You're here early again." His voice was deep, rough from sleep. "You don't have to prepare the Christmas table alone. I prefer to start before the others arrive, sir." Her tone was respectful but neutral, the way all perfect boundaries were drawn. A silence followed, the kind that carried questions he wasn't quite ready to ask. Alexander wasn't a man who spoke without purpose. If he lingered, it meant something was shifting. "I heard what you said last night," he said quietly. Elena's breath caught. For a moment, the entire hall seemed to freeze, the air, the light, her pulse. She forced her expression to remain calm as she turned slightly, just enough to face him. His eyes weren't cold, as she'd expected. They were searching. "I didn't mean to intrude," he added. "I was in the gallery when you passed by. I heard you whisper something about your son." Her hands curled at her sides. "It was just a passing thought, sir, nothing important." But her voice betrayed her. It thinned, cracked at the edges. Alexander studied her, his gaze sharper now. "People don't whisper things that don't matter." She looked away. "With respect, Mr. Ashbourne, we all have private moments. Mine slipped out. I didn't intend for anyone to hear." "What's his name?" Alexander asked. The question slammed into her chest. She hadn't spoken her son's name aloud in years. Not since the night everything changed. Not since the choice. She made the choice that still burned like a scar across her life. "Sir, I'd rather keep my personal life separate." He nodded slowly, almost thoughtfully, but his eyes said he'd already filed this moment away, the same way he filed every detail that might matter later. Alexander Ashbourne didn't forget things. He didn't overlook patterns. He didn't hear a secret without wondering why it was a secret. "Understood," he said softly. "But Elena, you don't have to carry everything alone." The words unsettled her. They were too gentle, too close to the truth she'd worked so hard to bury. Before she could respond, he straightened, smoothing the cuff of his charcoal sweater. "The storm will hit this evening," he said. Tell the staff I want everyone home early. No one should be driving after dusk. Yes, sir. He turned to leave, but paused once more, a brief hesitation, almost imperceptible. For what it's worth, he murmured, whatever keeps you from sharing that meal. I hope it isn't something you blame yourself for. The sentence hit her harder than it should have. Because of all the lies she told the world, that was the one she carried most heavily. When he walked away, Elena exhaled slowly, her pulse drumming beneath her skin. She needed to regain her composure. Alexander, hearing her whisper, was unfortunate, but harmless. He wouldn't think about it again. He had bigger concerns: meetings, projects, his charity foundation. He was a man with a world to run. Her life was a barely noticeable ripple inside his ocean. Or so she thought. As she cleaned the edge of the table, something caught her eye: a slip of paper tucked beneath one of the silver chargers. Strange. She hadn't seen it earlier. She pulled it free, expecting a misplaced receipt or a note from another maid. Instead, she froze. It was a photograph. Her photograph. A much younger Elena, holding a toddler whose face she shielded from the camera with her hand. Her ears rang, her vision narrowed. She flipped the photo over. A single line was written on the back, in neat, sharp handwriting she didn't recognize. He shouldn't be this close to you. Her hands trembled. Someone had been in her room. Someone had taken this. Someone new. And as she lifted her gaze toward the long hallway, she realized she wasn't alone in the house after all. Elena sees a shadow move behind the far doorway, someone watching her, then disappearing before she can identify them. The photograph felt heavier than paper should. Elena held it between her fingertips, as if it might burn her, as if the ink itself could scar her skin. Morning light no longer looked soft. It fell in sharp, accusing lines across the silver chargers, slicing the dining hall into fragments. She slipped the photo into her apron pocket before any other staff could arrive. Her heart beat so loud, she was certain someone would hear, it echoing against the marble floor. She forced herself to keep moving, smoothing the tablecloth, straightening chairs, adjusting centerpieces, anything to disguise the trembling in her hands. But no matter how she tried to steady herself, the image replayed in her mind. A shadow moving at the end of the hallway, watching her, slipping away. The house felt wrong now. Too quiet, too still. As though walls were listening. When the other staff arrived, Elena masked her fear behind a composed smile. Routine was her armor, and she wore it carefully, nodding at Claire, the pastry chef, offering a polite good morning to Mason, the gardener, reminding the junior maids about Alexander's instructions to leave early before the storm. But she didn't speak of the photograph. Not to anyone. Not even to her closest friend on the staff, Mrs. Renford, the elderly housekeeper who had been something like a mother to every servant who passed through Ashbourne's doors. Elena spotted her near the staircase, her gray bun loose, glasses sliding down her nose as she reviewed cleaning schedules with weary precision. "Elena," Mrs. Renford said, giving her a warm pat on the arm. "You're early as always. Did you sleep at all?" Elena hesitated. "Enough." "A lie, but the gentlest kind. You look pale. More than usual." "I'm fine." Mrs. Renford's gaze lingered longer than Elena liked. She had a knack for sensing things Elena preferred to keep buried. But before the housekeeper could ask anything else, a voice sliced through the air. "Elena." It was Lydia Ashbourne, Alexander's younger sister, young widow, sharp-tongued socialite, a woman who treated kindness as if it were a luxury item she rarely felt the need to purchase. Lydia approached with heels clicking, clutching a delicate gold bracelet in one hand as though it had personally betrayed her. "This is missing a clasp," she snapped. "Fix it before this evening." Elena examined the bracelet. "I'm not a jeweler, ma'am, but I can try to." Lydia cut her off with a dismissive wave. "I'm aware of your limitations, just do your best. I can't have it falling off during the charity gala livestream tomorrow." Mrs. Renford stiffened beside Elena. "Miss Lydia, perhaps you could—" "Not now, Renford," Lydia said sharply, already sweeping away toward the parlor. Mrs. Renford muttered a string of quiet displeasure. Elena managed a small smile. "It's fine," Elena whispered. It wasn't. But Elena had learned long ago to let small cuts bleed without protest. Life had trained her for deeper wounds. Before the housekeeper could reply, a distant door slammed loud enough to echo through 3 wings of the estate. Elena went still. Storm winds? No. The weather was calm. A staff member? No one used that corridor in the east wing at this hour. It was the same direction the shadow had disappeared that morning. Mrs. Renford frowned. Did you hear? Yes. Elena's voice was too quick. Should I? No, Elena said softly. I'll check. Because she needed to know. Needed to reassure herself she wasn't spiraling into old fears, old ghosts. Needed to believe she wasn't being hunted by a past she'd buried beneath years of silence. She walked down the east hallway, shoes quiet against the carpet runner. The corridor was dimmer here, lined with old portraits, Ashbourne ancestors, gazing down at her with stern, oil-painted stares. The air smelled faintly of cedar and something colder. Metallic. She approached the door that had slammed. It was slightly ajar. Her breath caught as she pushed it open. Inside was Alexander's private study, the room the staff rarely entered, a room filled with unfinished blueprints, financial papers, personal artifacts he never explained. But someone had definitely been here. A stack of documents lay scattered across the floor. Drawers were open, a chair was moved from its usual place. And there, on the center of the desk, was another object placed too intentionally to be accidental. A silver cufflink. Not valuable. Not antique, modern, sleek, masculine. But Elena recognized it instantly. Alexander's. Her pulse stuttered. Why would he leave something like this in the middle of his own ransacked study, unless evasion? Elena. She jumped. Alexander stood in the doorway, brows drawn together, coat half on as if he'd rushed back inside from the outer grounds. Snowflakes clung to his hair. What are you doing in my study? He asked. Not harshly, but with a sudden alertness, attention. She stepped back, hands raised slightly. I heard a noise. A door slammed. I thought someone might be. She didn't finish. His gaze swept over the room, landing on the open drawers, the scattered papers, the cufflink on the desk. His jaw tightened. This wasn't like this when I left. Elena's throat dried. You didn't? No, he said, voice low. He moved closer, inspecting the desk. His hand hovered over the cufflink but didn't touch it. Then he turned to her. Elena, has anyone been bothering you? Her heartbeat thudded painfully. Too many truths pressed at the back of her tongue, the photograph, the shadow, the message. But she swallowed them. No, she said softly. Just a misunderstanding. Alexander didn't believe her. She could see it in his eyes, sharp, analytical. The mind of a man who made a fortune reading people and predicting consequences. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I heard what you said last night, he said again. I know you think your life is invisible here, but it isn't. Not to everyone. Her breath trembled. Sir, I really should. Elena, he interrupted gently, if someone from your past is trying to. She stepped back, too far, too revealing. I need to finish the dining hall. His expression tightened concern mixed with something deeper, something he wasn't ready to name, but he didn't stop her as she walked past him. She almost made it to the door. Almost. Until Alexander said quietly behind her, whoever is doing this, they know you. Personally. Elena stopped. Turned. What makes you say that? He lifted the silver cufflink between 2 fingers. Because whoever broke into my study didn't steal anything of value. They weren't looking for my secrets. His eyes met hers, dark and steady. They were leaving you a message. Her blood ran cold. Elena, he said softly, what are you afraid of? But she couldn't answer. Not when her apron pocket felt like it was burning. Not when she could feel the photograph inside it like a heartbeat. She stepped into the hallway, breath thin, hands clammy. And that was when she saw it. A small white envelope taped to the corner of the hallway mirror. Her name written on the front. In the same handwriting as the message on the photograph. She froze. The envelope's seal was broken. Something inside it missing. Someone had left it for her. And someone else had already taken whatever was inside. Elena reaches toward the empty envelope and sees, reflected in the mirror behind her, a figure standing at the far end of the hallway, watching her. When she whirls around, the hallway is empty. Elena stared at the empty envelope as if it were a living thing, breathing, pulsing, waiting for her to touch it. The mirror reflected her pale face, her wide eyes, and just behind her shoulder, a darkness that shouldn't have been there. A human shape, a presence. She spun. Nothing. Just a hallway stretching into silence, lined with portraits watching her with centuries-old judgment. The chandelier above hummed faintly, vibrating from a draft she couldn't feel. Elena's breath trembled as she returned her gaze to the mirror. Her reflection looked rattled, shaken. And for the first time in years, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. Someone knew her, someone was reaching inside her life with precision, leaving breadcrumbs meant to push her, corner her, frighten her into remembering a past she never wanted to face again. She took the envelope down, fingers shaking. The flap had been opened carefully, neatly, too neatly. Whoever did this wasn't sloppy or impulsive. They were deliberate, calculated, and bold enough to walk the hallways while people were awake. Elena. The voice came from her right. Mrs. Renford, approaching with a full laundry basket. The housekeeper paused immediately, squinting at Elena's expression. "What's wrong?" she asked quietly. Elena hid the envelope behind her back. "Nothing. Just thinking. Your face says otherwise." Elena forced a small breath. "Just tired." "Mrs. Renford's eyes softened. "You work harder than anyone here. Don't forget you're allowed to rest." Rest, if only she could. But rest belonged to people whose past stayed where they left them. "Thank you," Elena whispered. The housekeeper gave her a final, searching look before shuffling away. Elena headed toward the service stairs, needing distance from the mirror, the envelope, the faint outline she swore she'd seen behind her reflection. She needed to think somewhere. No one would follow. The basement. It wasn't truly a basement, more like a sprawling underground level used for storage, wine cellars, and old rooms left behind by previous generations. It was quiet, hidden, safe. Or it used to be. She descended the narrow steps, her fingers grazing the railing. The deeper she went, the colder the air became, carrying the faint scent of dust, aged wood, and old memories. Lights flickered overhead. One bulb buzzed, sputtered, then held. She walked past boxes labeled archives, decor, estate records, until she reached a wooden table at the back of the room. There, she finally let herself breathe. She opened the envelope. Empty. She turned it over, held it to the light, checked every corner. Nothing. No note, no photograph, no message. But someone had meant for her to find it. Her fingers traced the faint indentation inside the paper. Something had been there, a card, a small photograph? Whatever it was, someone removed it. Someone watching her. Her throat tightened. A creak echoed behind her, wood groaning under weight. She spun. "Relax," a voice whispered. Elena startled so violently, the envelope slipped from her hands and drifted to the floor. It was Julian. The estate's night guard. Tall, quiet, rarely seen during the day unless the schedule changed. His uniform was wrinkled, dark hair slightly mussed. His eyes, usually unreadable, were sharper today, focusing on her with an intensity she didn't recognize. "Julian, what are you doing here?" Elena asked. "I saw you come down." He stepped into the room, closing the door behind him. "You looked distressed." Her pulse jumped. "I just needed a minute alone. The house isn't safe today." His voice stayed low, as if trying not to startle her. "There's someone walking the wings without authorization." Elena froze. "Who?" "We're still checking the security feeds," Julian said. "But someone disabled 3 cameras in the East Wing this morning." Her mind flashed to the shadow she'd seen, the ransacked study, the photo, the envelope. "Julian," she began, "someone left something for me." He stepped closer, too close. His voice thickened. "Elena, if something's going on, if someone's threatening you, you need to tell me. I can help." She shook her head. "It's nothing." His jaw clenched. "You always say that. But things happen around you, and you pretend they don't." Her stomach dropped. What do you mean, things happen around me? Julian hesitated. Then, you're not as invisible as you think. The room seemed to shrink around them. Elena took a step back. Julian, what do you know? Before he could answer, footsteps thundered down the stairs. Elena? Alexander's voice. Julian straightened immediately, almost guilty. Elena moved away from him on instinct. Alexander descended the last step with purposeful strides, his coat half open, his expression tight. His gaze jumped from Julian to Elena, and the tension in his shoulders shifted into something sharper. Is everything all right down here? He asked. Julian spoke before Elena could. I found her alone in the basement with an opened envelope. She seemed frightened. Elena shot him a look, not angry, but startled. Julian had never intervened in her life before, not once. Alexander's eyes narrowed as they moved to Elena. Envelope? She swallowed. I found one. Someone left it, for me, but whatever was inside is gone. Alexander's expression darkened. Show me. Elena bent to pick up the envelope, handing it to him. He inspected it slowly, touching the crease, examining the handwriting, feeling the indentation inside the paper. This wasn't written by staff, he said softly. This is intentional. She hesitated. Intentional, how? Alexander met her gaze. Whoever left this wanted you unsettled. They're not trying to hide from you, they're trying to pull you into something. Her chest tightened. Why me? That's what I intend to find out, he said. But Elena, I need the truth. All of it. Julian's voice cut in, quiet but firm. I can provide security until we identify the intruder. Alexander didn't even look at him. I'll handle it. A silent, electric tension flickered between the two men, one protective, one possessive, both refusing to step back. Elena, Alexander continued, turning back to her, you are not to walk anywhere alone until I understand what's happening. Her throat tightened. Sir. This isn't a request. His voice was low, unyielding. A decision made. Another step closer. Julian stiffened. Elena, he said, if you tell me what's happening, I can protect you. Alexander's jaw tightened. She will stay near me. The basement felt suddenly claustrophobic, heat rising from old concrete, dust floating in the single beam of light above them. Elena looked between them. Two men who rarely spoke, now locked in silent battle over something she didn't understand. Something or someone they thought was threatening her. Her pulse hammered. Please, she whispered. Both of you, just give me a moment. But neither moved. A crackling sound broke the standoff, a burst of static from the intercom on the wall. Mrs. Renford's shaky voice came through. Mr. Ashbourne, we have a situation up here. Someone left a message in the main hallway. Alexander stepped to the intercom. What message? A breath, trembling. It's written on your office door, sir. In marker. More static. Then. She knows. Stop her before it's too late. Elena felt the blood drain from her face. But Mrs. Renford wasn't finished. There's more, it's signed. Elena's knees nearly buckled. Signed by who? Alexander demanded. A long pause. Then. Elena's son. Elena collapses against the table as both men freeze because her son hasn't been in this city in over 9 years, and no one in the house knows his name. Elena doesn't remember falling. She only feels the cold of the kitchen tiles pressing through her palms, the world narrowing to a humming tunnel with no edges. Lucas and Justin hover above her, voices blurring together like distant thunder. Someone lifts her by the arms. Justin's hands, she thinks, because they're shaking, but Lucas is the one who steadies her in the chair, his expression unreadable and too calm for the moment. Elena, Justin says quietly, look at me. What did you hear? She can't answer immediately. Her pulse is sprinting, her lungs feel wrapped in coarse rope. The phone screen still glows on the table where she dropped it. The voicemail window open, the timestamp fresh 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes. Not 9 years. 9 years since the accident. 9 years since the city police knocked on her door. 9 years since she identified what was left. She swallows hard, her throat tastes metallic, like the memory itself is bleeding. I heard him, she whispers. I heard my son. Justin and Lucas exchange a quick look, the kind two people make when they're silently arguing about who's going to break the news the gentlest way. But there is no gentle for this, there never has been. Justin pulls a chair closer, lowering himself until his face is level with hers. His voice softens the way it does when he interviews victims who've lost too much, slow enough to soothe, firm enough to keep them from drifting away. Elena. Sometimes grief resurfaces in strange ways. Audio glitches happen, too. It wasn't a glitch. Her voice comes out sharper than she expects. He said, "Mom." He said he was here. Lucas retrieves the phone and replays the voicemail. A soft static breath. A faint scrape, like a shoe brushing gravel. Then, nothing. No voice, no words, no son. Elena's stomach dips. That isn't what she heard. That isn't what happened. She grabs the phone, nearly dropping it again as she swipes shakily through the call log. The number isn't one she recognizes, no ID, no location, just unknown caller, exactly as it appeared when she answered. She presses play again. Static. Scrape. Silence. I know what I heard. Justin opens his mouth, but Lucas lifts a hand. Let her talk. Elena closes her eyes, rebuilding the moment piece by piece, as if reconstructing a shattered vase she's too terrified to touch. She had been stirring tea when the phone rang. She almost didn't answer. But on the other end, Mom. That single word, breathy and urgent, like her son was running. Then, I'm here, I'm. A sound like wind swallowing the rest. She pushes a trembling hand across her forehead. He was alive, or he knew me, or it was someone who knew how to hurt you, Lucas says quietly. Someone who knows your past. Justin shoots him a sharp glare, but he doesn't retract the words. He never does. Lucas plays truth like a blade, clean, cutting, unavoidable. Who would do that? Elena asks. Her body feels hollow, but her mind races, dragging up possibilities she thought she'd buried. Justin leans back. We'll check, but first, I need you to breathe. She tries, but every inhale feels like it's climbing through barbed wire. It's Lucas who moves next. He crosses the room, adjusts the curtains, and glances outside with the suspicious stillness of someone who never trusts a quiet street. Then he returns, his posture straight, his face carved from stone. Tell us everything, he says, exactly as you remember. Elena recounts it, this time with no interruptions. The men listen closely, Justin with his detective's empathy, Lucas with a silent calculation that seems to weigh not only what she's saying but what she's leaving unsaid. When she finishes, the room feels colder. Justin rubs his jaw. There's one thing bothering me. Your son, his voice. After 9 years, it would sound deeper. It did, she says, older, but it was him, not a child's voice, a man's. But the way he said Mom, that tone same as when he was little. Like he was scared. Lucas folds his arms. What scared him? She lifts her gaze. I don't know. Silence thickens again. Then Justin stands abruptly. I'm calling this in. We need to trace the number, check the surrounding towers, pull recordings. If someone's playing games. But his sentence collapses when Lucas suddenly steps forward and places a hand on his forearm. No. Lucas's voice turns low. You can't call it in. Not yet. Justin's eyebrows shoot upward, and why exactly not? Lucas's eyes flick toward Elena, because once the department knows, she loses control of this. And if this is connected to the case we handled 3 years ago, Elena's breath freezes. Justin shuts his mouth, understanding crashing across his face. No, he says with a quiet intensity. That's impossible. That man is out of the country. You think so, Lucas replies. But the calls we never traced, the warehouse camera loops, the sightings, none of it added up. And now this, a voice from someone who shouldn't exist. Elena grips the edge of the table. What case? Justin tries to downplay it. It's nothing, it's unrelated. Lucas doesn't blink. It's very related. Justin groans. For the love of don't do this now. But Lucas ignores him and turns to Elena. 3 years ago, Justin and I worked a series of disappearances. Adults, no ransom, no bodies, no motives. Just gone. But before each disappearance, the victim's family got a single call from an unknown number. Audio was always corrupted, but family members all reported hearing someone they loved, someone they lost. The room seems to tilt beneath her. "Justin," she says carefully, "is that true?" Justin drags a hand across his face. "We never confirmed anything. It could have been coincidence, misreporting, people hearing what they wanted, what they feared," Lucas corrects. Elena's pulse thunders through her ears. "Are you saying someone used my son's voice? Someone copied it?" Justin shakes his head. "We don't know that." Lucas speaks again, slower this time. "We do know one more thing. Each victim vanished within 72 hours of the call." A cold wave spreads down Elena's spine, all the way to her fingertips. Justin snaps, "Stop scaring her. She needs to know," Lucas insists. Elena grips her shaking hands together. She feels like a marionette held up by threads thinning with every breath. "I'm not disappearing," she says, though her voice wavers. "I'm not going anywhere." Lucas lowers his gaze to the phone still in her hand. "Maybe. But the pattern fits too well. Too exact." Justin sighs heavily. "We'll protect you, both of us. But we need to stay rational. First step is checking if the call pinged any local towers." Lucas shakes his head. "No. First step is leaving this house. If someone reached her number without caller ID, they might know her location." Elena's chest tightens. "But where would we go?" Justin hesitates. Lucas doesn't. "To my place," he says. "It's secure." Justin turns sharply. "We don't even know if she's in danger." Lucas's eyes flick to Elena just for a second, but the look is enough. Then the front door creaks. All three freeze. No wind outside. No traffic. No one else living here. The creak comes again, slow, drawn out, deliberate. Footsteps follow. But they aren't coming in. They're coming down. From upstairs. The floor above them groans under a weight that shouldn't be there. Elena's breath shatters. Because no one else has a key. And no one has been in that locked upstairs room for 9 years. Not since her son's things were stored away forever. A soft knock echoes from the ceiling directly above her. 1, 2, 3. Then a voice, low, muffled, trembling, whispers through the vent near the fridge. "Mom, open the door." For a heartbeat, no one moves. The house seems to inhale around them, its walls tightening, its air stretching thin like cellophane wrapped too tightly to breathe through. Elena's gaze snaps to the ceiling directly above the kitchen vent, where the voice had seeped through like a memory turned into sound. Lucas steps in front of her so fast the chair legs squeal across the tiles. Justin's hand goes instinctively to his hip, reaching for a weapon he isn't wearing because tonight was supposed to be ordinary. Dinner. Tea. A brief, polite visit, nothing like this. The voice doesn't repeat. But the silence is worse. "Elena," Justin whispers, "stay behind us." Her legs tremble when she stands, but the fear comes with something else, an undertow of disbelief that borders on nausea. She wants to deny what she heard. To chalk it up to grief, or shock, or the fact that she barely slept last night, but the voice wasn't imagined. It was too real, too close, too familiar. Lucas signals Justin with 2 fingers. They move toward the stairs with silent precision, Justin taking the left, Lucas the right, every step measured, controlled. The same dynamic they used years ago, when they worked together, reading each other's body language like a shared language no one taught them. Elena follows despite her own fear. She can't stay behind. Not when the voice sounded like her son. Not when it came from the room she hasn't opened since the night she packed away his life. The staircase groans under their weight as they ascend. Halfway up, the air changes colder, heavier. Lucas pauses at the landing, holding up a hand. "Listen." At first, nothing. Then another sound. Soft, slow, dragging. Feet across carpet. Footsteps pacing inside the locked storage room. Elena's heart pounds so violently, she swears the house can hear it. Justin leans in close and whispers, "Elena, the room is locked, right? No one else has the key." She nods. "I have the only one. It's downstairs, in a drawer." Lucas frowns. Then how is someone inside? She swallows. They can't be. But the footsteps continue. Justin unclips a flashlight from the drawer at the hall table, the beam slicing through the dimness. The upstairs hallway stretches ahead narrow, lined with framed photographs turned into ghostly rectangles by the thin layer of dust. The air smells faintly of old paper and stale lavender from the sachets she tucked in drawers years ago. At the very end of the hall stands the room. Her son's room. The door still painted in the soft green he chose when he was 9. Someone knocks from inside. 3 gentle taps. Lucas tenses. Justin's breath stutters. Elena steps past both of them. Elena, stay back. Justin hisses. But she doesn't. She can't. Something in her chest pulls her toward the door, as if an invisible string ties her there. Her hand rises before she can stop it, trembling as it rests against the faded paint. "Who's in there?" she whispers. A moment of silence. Then another whisper, closer this time, right on the other side of the wood. "Mom, I'm cold." Her knees nearly buckle. Justin grabs her arm to steady her, but her eyes are locked on the door, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. Justin gently moves her back. "Elena, someone is copying him. That isn't your son." She shakes her head, unable to form words. Lucas crouches, examining the doorframe. His fingers trace the lock, no scratches, no signs of force. The metal keyhole looks untouched, almost pristine despite the years. He stands, jaw tightening. That lock wasn't picked. "Then how?" Justin starts. A thin shadow flickers under the door, cutting his sentence in half. Someone is standing directly behind it. Lucas lowers his voice. "We need to be smart. If this is connected to the old case, the voice is bait." "A lure?" "A lure for what?" Elena whispers. Justin doesn't answer. His eyes stay fixed on the thin strip of darkness beneath the door. Then the doorknob begins to turn. Slowly. Deliberately. Metal squeals under unseen hands. Elena gasps. Justin raises the flashlight like a makeshift weapon. Lucas reaches behind his back and pulls something from his coat, a compact metal batten that snaps open with a click. The knob turns again. But the door doesn't open. It stays locked. Lucas steps forward, voice steady. "Whoever you are, step away from the door." Silence. Then, a soft giggle. A child's giggle. Elena's entire body goes cold. Her son never giggled like that. That wasn't his voice. It's warped, twisted. Like someone trying to impersonate a child from memory alone. Lucas lifts a finger to his lips. "Quiet." He signals to Justin. "On 3. Justin nods. 1, 2, 3. Lucas slams his shoulder into the door. The frame cracks, but the door doesn't budge. This is impossible. It's a simple indoor lock. It should have splintered easily. Justin joins in, and together they hit it again. Crack. Crack. Still closed. Inside, the footsteps rush toward the back of the room. Then the unmistakable sound of a window sliding open. Lucas curses. They're trying to escape. He and Justin ram the door a third time. Finally, it bursts inward, the lock snapping clean off. The room explodes open in a cloud of dust. Elena pushes forward behind them. The flashlight beam sweeps across. Boxes stacked neatly. A still-covered bed. Sealed containers labeled with her son's handwriting. Drawers tied shut with old ribbon. A shelf of untouched books. A window half open, the curtain swaying but no person. No shadow. No footprints in the dust. The room is completely, impossibly undisturbed. Justin spins toward the window. They went out. Lucas shakes his head. No tracks, no fingerprints on the frame, nothing disturbed. Elena steps forward, placing a hand on the bedspread. Untouched. Cold. As if no one had ever stepped inside. Justin turns back to her, breath hard. "Elena, what happened in this room 9 years ago? What aren't you telling us?" She looks at him, tears blurring the dim outlines of the past. Everything was normal. He came home from school. He did his homework. Then Her voice chokes. Lucas finishes quietly. Then he disappeared. without explanation. She nods helplessly, but he never left through the window. That window's been painted shut for years. Lucas moves toward the closet. If someone hid. He stops. Justin follows his gaze. The closet door stands an inch open. It wasn't like that before. Lucas raises the baton. Justin light. Justin lifts the flashlight. Lucas pulls the door open. Inside. Only clothes hang neatly on rusted hangers. But scratched into the back wall is a single sentence, letters jagged and frantic. Mom, don't trust the one who stands closest. Elena's breath collapses. Justin spins, scanning the room. What the hell, who wrote that? When? Lucas takes a step back, reading it again. It wasn't here before. Fresh scratches, hours old at most. But Elena isn't looking at the wall anymore. She's staring at the floor of the closet. Her son's favorite toy, a small wooden astronaut, lies there. She buried it with him. She drops to her knees, reaching out with shaking hands, but before she touches it, a voice echoes from downstairs. A man's voice. Cold. Steady. Unmuffled. I've been waiting for all three of you. Lucas and Justin freeze. Elena's heart stops. Footsteps move across the living room floor. The voice continues. Come down. Now, or she comes with me. The footsteps downstairs move with the slow, confident rhythm of someone who owns the moment. Someone who walked into this house knowing the locks, knowing the layout, knowing exactly how long it would take them to reach the upper floor. Lucas signals Elena and Justin to stay silent. The three of them listen. Footsteps. A pause. A faint metallic clink, like a chain brushing against marble. Then, a voice that sounds almost bored. I said come down. I'm not asking again. Justin's jaw tightens. We don't go down blind. He might have someone else with him. Lucas nods, eyes scanning the hallway. He softens his voice. Elena, look at me. She tries, but her gaze keeps drifting back to the closet. To the carved message, to the toy that shouldn't exist anymore, to the window that shouldn't have opened, to the voice that shouldn't be downstairs. She finally meets Lucas's eyes. I know you're scared, he says. But whatever's happening, whoever that is, he wants something specific. He isn't here to kill us. If he wanted to, he wouldn't announce himself. That's supposed to make me feel better? She whispers. No, Lucas says. It's supposed to help you think. He is calm, but she sees the muscle ticking in his jaw. He's calculating, predicting angles, routes, exits. The same focus he had years ago when she met him on a night that changed everything before she knew he was capable of loyalty so sharp it could cut, and betrayal even sharper. Justin steps closer, keeping his voice low. Elena, do you recognize that voice? She opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. Because the truth is shocking, impossible, and yet undeniable. She does. Not the man himself. Not his face. But his tone. She's heard him once before. In the background of a call, the night her son disappeared. A shiver races down her spine. Justin sees it. You know something. Elena, Lucas presses. I heard him once. Her voice trembles. I didn't know who he was then. I still don't. But he was with. But she can't finish the sentence. Her throat closes. She hasn't spoken these memories out loud in years. Downstairs, the man exhales in irritation. Elena's hands tremble. She feels like the entire room is closing in on her. Sophia's struggles, the intruder's gaze, Lucas's tension, it all blends into a deafening roar inside her head. Justin's voice cuts through sharply. Enough riddles. Show yourself. Stop hiding behind cryptic threats. The intruder tilts his head, a faint smile crossing his face. Ah, Justin. Always so impatient, but patience is a luxury none of you have, especially you, Elena. He reaches into his coat slowly, deliberately, as if every movement is choreographed for maximum effect. Lucas tightens his stance. Don't. But Elena notices it first, the glint of metal, small, circular, cold. A locket. The intruder opens it, and Elena gasps, her vision narrowing, her pulse hammering like a drum. Inside the locket, 2 photographs. One of her son, smiling at her in a long-forgotten memory. The second her, young, unaware, standing beside him on a summer day, her arms wrapped around him. And then, scribbled on the edge of the locket in the same jagged hand as the closet wall, "I've been with him all along." Elena's hands shake violently. What does this mean? The intruder tilts his head, voice calm, almost tender. "It means, Elena, that every truth you believed was the opposite of reality. And now you will see everything. But be warned, once you see it, nothing can return to the way it was." Sophia screams through her gag. Lucas and Justin tighten their grip on their weapons. Elena steps forward, trembling. Every instinct screams to run, to hide, to close her eyes forever. But she can't. She has to know. The intruder opens his mouth, ready to speak the words that will shatter the last of her illusions. And then, from the open window behind him, a shadow moves. Tall, silent, watching. Elena freezes. Lucas growls. Justin's eyes widen. The intruder turns slowly, his confident composure faltering for the first time. And Elena realizes, in that heartbeat, that the person in the shadow knows everything. The shadow steps forward, revealing a face Elena never expected to see, and it is someone who has been inside her life for years, closer than anyone suspected. The room goes silent, and for the first time, Elena feels truly trapped. The shadow steps into the beam of the flashlight, and Elena's heart skips a beat so violently she fears it might stop altogether. It's a face she knows, too well, too intimately. One she trusted more than anyone, the one she never suspected. Sophia. Her oldest friend, her confidant, the woman tied to the chair moments ago, but now, impossibly, the same face stares back at her from the window. "No," Elena whispers, shaking her head. This can't." Sophia tilts her head, faint smile curling at the edges of her lips. "It is, Elena. Every word. Every secret you thought buried, all of it." Lucas steps in front of Elena, muscles coiled. "Explain, now?" Sophia glances at the intruder, him, calm, deliberate, holding the locket with her son's pictures, and then back at Elena. "It's all been a lie. The people you trusted, the stories you were told, the timeline of your son's disappearance, all manipulated. By me." Elena freezes. Her mind loops, spinning out of control. You're saying, you orchestrated my son's disappearance?" Sophia's gaze hardens, unwavering. "No, I protected him, and you. You were never meant to know the full truth, until the time was right." Justin steps forward, voice low and furious. "Protected? From what? From who? From yourself?" Sophia sighs. "From yourself, Justin. From what this house really is. From what happens here. From them." She nods at the intruder, who lowers the locket, letting the weight of his presence fill the room. Elena shakes her head, tears streaming. "You mean, you've been lying to me all these years?" "You." "Not lying," Sophia interrupts sharply. "Hiding, protecting. If I had told you the truth, if Lucas hadn't acted the way he did, your son would be gone. Not missing, gone." Lucas steps forward, jaw clenched. "She's right. But I should have told you. I made choices in the shadows to buy time, to shield everyone. But yes, I lied. And that is on me." Elena feels her legs give out. She collapses onto a nearby chair, clutching her head. Every revelation hits like a physical blow. Sophia kneels beside her. "Elena, listen. You're going to need to hear this slowly. I can't sugarcoat it anymore." Elena lifts her tear-streaked face. "Then tell me." The intruder places the locket on the table. "It's time you understand what your son saw, what he learned." Elena peers at the locket. Inside, the 2 photographs, her son smiling, and herself. And beneath them, a small slip of folded paper. She picks it up carefully. The handwriting is unmistakable, her son's. She unfolds it. "Mom, they're not who they say. You have to trust Sophia. She will guide you. Lucas is not your enemy, but someone close to you is." Her hands shake violently. This can't. He wrote this. He He's alive? Sophia nods, eyes glimmering. Alive. He's been trained, protected, hidden. But he saw something so dangerous that everyone who knew about it would be in mortal peril if you discovered it the wrong way. Lucas's voice is calm but firm. Elena, your son's disappearance wasn't random. It was calculated. Every move, every step, orchestrated to keep him and by extension, you safe. But now the game has changed. That's why he reached out. That's why the calls. That's why. He gestures at the intruder. He allowed this to happen now. Elena's mind reels. Why now? Why reveal all this now? Why put all of us in danger again? The intruder steps forward. Because the time has come. You've been asking questions, probing, investigating. And the truth cannot remain hidden any longer. Sophia continues, her voice softer. He's changed, Elena. Not just physically, but in understanding. He knows what the house hides, what it protects, and he knows what he must do. And now, you must know too. Justin clenches his fists. Enough riddles. Tell us exactly what this house hides, what we're dealing with. Sophia takes a deep breath. This house is not just a home, it's a sanctuary. A trap, a vault of knowledge, secrets that could destroy lives. Secrets your son was never supposed to see. Elena feels cold, a deep sinking chill. Secrets, like what? Sophia looks at the intruder. He nods subtly. She exhales. The people you've trusted, not everyone is who they appear to be. Some are guardians, some are manipulators, and some are betrayers. People close to you, people who love you, or pretend to. Lucas's gaze hardens. It's not just about protection anymore, it's about control. And the moment someone powerful enough realizes what your son knows, we all risk everything. The room is heavy with silence. Sophia kneels beside Elena again. I kept him hidden, I lied, I misled you, but every choice I made was to give him a chance. And now, he's ready. He wants you to know, he wants you to help. Elena's mind spins, her son, alive, hidden, watching, waiting, protecting. Tears stream down her face. I don't know if I can do this. Sophia takes her hand. You can. You must. Because if you don't, it will be too late. The intruder opens the locket again. And there's one final piece. He removes a photograph Elena hadn't noticed before. A third image, not her son, not her. But a man. Standing in shadow, face obscured. Who is this? Elena asks, voice barely above a whisper. The intruder's smile is thin, sharp. Someone you know well, someone in your circle, someone you would never suspect. Elena's stomach turns. Lucas? He shakes his head. No, not me. Justin swears under his breath. Great. So, one of us. Sophia nods slowly. Closer than you think. Closer than comfort allows. This is the person responsible for what truly happened 9 years ago. Elena's head swims. Betrayal, relief, anger, fear. Every emotion collides in a storm that leaves her trembling. Lucas steps closer. We have one chance to act. One chance to confront the real villain. But Elena, this person will try to stop you. They will manipulate, lie, and deceive, and they have been doing it for years. Sophia presses the locket into Elena's hands. You need to see this, all of it, and understand before anyone else moves. Only then can you protect your son, and yourself. Elena unfolds the third photograph fully. Her blood runs cold. It isn't Lucas, it isn't Justin. It is someone she has trusted every day of her life. Someone she invited into her home. Someone smiling at her in innocence. And yet, the words scribbled across the back of the photo make her scream. I have been the shadow in your life, and I will finish what I started. Elena drops the photograph, trembling violently. She looks at Lucas, she looks at Sophia, she looks at the intruder. The room goes deathly silent. And then, from the open window, another shadow moves. A figure steps fully into the light, revealing themselves. And Elena recognizes them immediately. It is someone she has trusted for decades, a person who was supposed to protect her, guide her, and stand by her side. But now, their intentions are clear. They have been orchestrating the entire nightmare, and Elena realizes she might have walked straight into their trap. The figure in the doorway steps fully into the light, and Elena's blood runs cold. Her eyes widen, her body freezes, and the room seems to contract around her chest. It's someone she's trusted for years, someone whose face was the first she saw each morning, the last she saw at night. Someone whose voice had comforted her, whose presence had been a constant through loss, through fear, through uncertainty. And now, that face calm, confident, unflinching is the face of the enemy. Elena chokes on her breath. It can't be. The intruder tilts his head, expression calm. It is. Every lie, every secret, every disappearance, orchestrated by them. And yet, you never suspected. Sophia steps forward, eyes narrowed. Elena, stay back. Don't engage until we understand their plan. They're clever, calculating. This isn't just betrayal, it's strategy. Lucas's fists clench. All right. Enough. You've been hiding behind masks for too long. Show your cards. The person her trusted confidant smiles faintly, a smile that chills Elena to the bone. You've always been curious, Elena. Too curious. That's why this is happening now. That's why I've waited, for the perfect moment. Justin swallows, tension coiling in his jaw. Why? Why betray her? Why your son? The figure's eyes darken. Because someone has to control the game, someone has to ensure the truth doesn't destroy everything. I have responsibilities you cannot begin to understand. And you, Elena, with your probing questions, threatened everything. Including him. Elena feels her knees weaken. Threatened? Him? My son? Sophia steps closer, placing a hand on Elena's shoulder. He didn't disappear randomly. He was taken to protect him from the real puppeteer behind all these events. And now they're here, finally revealing themselves. But they are dangerous. Elena, trust me, everything you thought you knew is upside down. Lucas glances at Elena, eyes hard. We've been cautious, yes, but it's clear now, we cannot negotiate. We can only act, and act fast. The betrayer tilts their head. So predictable. So predictable, Lucas. You always rush in. Impulsive, heroic, pathetic. Elena flinches. Why him? Why my son? A soft, cruel laugh. Because he saw the wrong thing at the wrong time. He learned truths too early. He knows things I cannot allow to spread. And you curious, emotional, unpredictable, you are the wild card. If you fail, everything collapses. Justin mutters under his breath, and here I thought things couldn't get worse. Elena's vision narrows. She looks at the intruder, at Lucas, at Sophia. Every ally she's ever had is standing around her, but now, the lines are blurred. Friend or foe? Protector or manipulator? Sophia takes Elena's hands in hers. You must focus. You cannot let fear control you. You must think, plan, and act. Only then can we confront the truth and the betrayer. The betrayer takes a step forward, a dangerous glint in their eyes. You think you have allies? You think you can win? I've controlled events from the shadows for years, and you are just now realizing it. Pathetic. Elena feels the rage build inside her, a storm threatening to tear through her body. No, she says, voice low and fierce. You don't get to do this. Not anymore, not to him. Not to us, not to me. Lucas clenches his teeth. She's right. Your reign of control ends tonight. Whatever it takes, we stop this now. The betrayer tilts their head again, smiling. Ah, Lucas. You always think you can confront me head-on, but you forget, I know the house, I know the people, and I know the weaknesses. Everyone has them, and I will exploit them. Elena's pulse races. Sophia leans closer. Listen carefully, Elena. He's been watching, waiting, anticipating your moves. You need to be unpredictable. You need to think 2 steps ahead. You cannot act emotionally. Your son's life, everything depends on it. The intruder nods. He's right. Hesitation will cost you dearly. You have one chance to reclaim control, to uncover the full truth. But make a mistake. The betrayer laughs softly. Mistakes are fatal. Elena swallows hard. She looks at the locket, at the photograph of her son, at the scribbled words warning her. Her mind races. The pieces of the puzzle she has collected over 9 years, over endless sleepless nights, over whispered rumors and half-truths, they are all converging now. But still, the final move, the revelation, the confrontation remains just out of reach. Justin whispers, "Elena, now. You have to decide. Do you confront them, or do you wait? Hesitation will get us killed." Lucas adds, voice tight with urgency, "And remember, Elena, this isn't just about revenge, it's about protection. It's about your son, you have to keep him alive, no matter what." Elena takes a deep breath, her hands tighten around the locket. The intruder's gaze is fixed on her, calm and precise. Every nerve in her body screams to act. And then, suddenly, the betrayer steps closer. One slow, deliberate movement. Sophia leans toward Elena. "Watch him. Watch her. Watch everything. Don't trust appearances." The intruder mutters something under their breath. The sound is chilling, unintelligible, but it carries weight. Elena's mind snaps into clarity. Every conversation, every hidden glance, every subtle manipulation she had overlooked, all the threads lead to a single moment, a single confrontation. And she knows instinctively, if she missteps, her son, Sophia, Lucas, Justin, everyone is at risk. The betrayer's lips curl into a sinister smile. "I will give you a choice, Elena. One move, one decision. Make it wisely, or watch everything you love crumble." Time seems to stretch, the room tightens, every heartbeat echoes like a drum in her skull. Elena glances at Sophia, at Lucas, at Justin, and then back at the betrayer, whose smile promises both danger and revelation. She knows what she must do, but the weight of the decision threatens to crush her. Her son's face flashes in her mind. The years of fear, loss, and longing crash over her. And in that heartbeat, she realizes something terrifying. The truth she's been chasing may not be enough to save him. She opens her mouth. And then, the lights in the house cut out. Suddenly, darkness. Complete, suffocating darkness. The only sound is the betrayed whisper of the intruder, close to her ear. "You think this was a choice? Think again, Elena. Now you will see the real truth, whether you want to or not." And in that moment, Elena realizes that the betrayer has already won the first move. The entire house plunges into darkness, and a single metallic click echoes from somewhere nearby, the unmistakable sound of a gun being cocked. Elena's heart races as she hears a whisper from the shadows, "Move," and she dies. The metallic click echoed like a death knell through the house, a single sound that froze every nerve in Elena's body. Her lungs burned with every shallow breath, her hands trembling as she gripped the locket like a lifeline. The shadows pressed in, thick and suffocating, hiding the faces of friends, foes, and the betrayer alike. Sophia's hand found hers in the darkness. "Stay calm," she whispered. "Breathe. Think. The moment you panic, they win." Lucas stepped in front of Elena, shoulders rigid, eyes sharp, muscles tense for action. Justin's hand rested on his own weapon, poised but restrained. Silence stretched for what felt like an eternity, broken only by the slow, measured breathing of the betrayer somewhere in the room. Elena's mind raced. She thought of her son, the boy she had lost for so long, now alive and watching from the shadows, protected by choices she hadn't yet fully understood. Every lie, every manipulation, every secret, had led to this exact moment. She realized, with a piercing clarity, that the survival of everyone she loved depended not on her fear, but on her courage. The darkness shifted. A faint beam of moonlight pierced the window, revealing the betrayer's silhouette. They held the gun loosely but confidently, their figure relaxed in a way that screamed control. "Elena," they said softly, voice almost familiar, "you've always been too curious for your own good. But it's time. Decide." Elena took a slow, deliberate breath. She steadied her hands, unclenching her fists, forcing calm into her racing heart. "I'm done being afraid," she said quietly, with more strength than she knew she possessed. "If you want to threaten me now. But know this: I will protect everyone I love." There was a pause. A tilt of the head, then a faint, almost imperceptible laugh, brave words. But bravery doesn't change the outcome. Lucas leaned closer. We've come too far for threats. Elena, trust yourself. Trust what you know now. And remember, he is watching, and so are we. Every move matters. The Lorderbroad. .com for usual so. Sophia added, voice steady and unwavering, Elena, the choice isn't just about survival. It's about revealing the truth. The world needs to see it. It needs to know what really happened. And you are the only one who can show them. The betrayer's hand twitched. Elena's pulse quickened. But she no longer felt paralyzed. She felt clarity. She could feel the puzzle pieces snapping into place in her mind, the manipulated timelines, the hidden truths, the careful orchestration, and the sacrifices made by Lucas and Sophia. It had all been about protecting her son and the fragile network of truths that kept him safe. Elena stepped forward. Her voice rang with a calm authority. Enough games. You've manipulated us long enough. Every secret, every shadow, every lie, it ends now. Put the gun down. Let's talk. The betrayer's eyes narrowed, the first flicker of uncertainty crossing their face. You dare? Elena interrupted, voice unwavering. I dare because I have nothing left to lose, and everything to protect. The gun wavered, hand trembling slightly under the weight of Elena's resolve. Then, slowly, the weapon was lowered, a signal of surrender or perhaps calculation. Lucas exhaled, tension leaving his body just enough to signal temporary relief. Sophia's hand still held Elena's, grounding her. Justin's eyes never left the betrayer, alert and ready for any sudden move. Elena stepped closer, careful, deliberate, the beam of moonlight catching the locket in her hands. You've kept him hidden all these years, but no more. He deserves to come home, to know the truth for himself, and to live his life free from fear. We all do. The betrayer's lips pressed into a thin line, a silent acknowledgement. Then, slowly, they stepped back into the shadows, vanishing from the room as silently as they had appeared, leaving behind a faint trace of cold air and the echo of unresolved tension. Elena sank to her knees, clutching the locket. Tears streamed freely, not just for the relief of survival but for the weight of truth finally unburdened. Lucas crouched beside her, hand on her shoulder. Flecken of those devices. It's over, for now. You did it. You protected him. You protected us all. Sophia finally spoke, her voice soft but firm. The truth is out, Elena, and now we have to rebuild. Not everything can be restored to how it was, but we can shape what comes next. Elena nodded, the enormity of the past and the precariousness of the future pressing upon her. He's alive, she whispered. And he's safe. That's what matters. Lucas looked toward the doorway, where shadows still lingered, remnants of uncertainty and hidden threats. Safe, for now. But we've uncovered a lot. People we trusted, they're not all gone. And we'll have to be vigilant. Elena rose slowly, clutching the locket to her chest. We can't change the past, but we can shape the future. He'll know the truth, and so will we. And from now on, we won't let fear control us. Sophia nodded, placing a gentle hand on Elena's back. And you won't have to. You're stronger than you know. And you've never been alone, not truly. The three of them stood together, the tension in the room easing with every heartbeat, but the memory of the betrayal still lingering like a shadow on the wall. The house was quiet now, yet the weight of what had transpired left every corner charged with history, secrets, and unspoken promises. Outside, the first hint of dawn crept over the horizon, casting pale gold light across the walls, across the furniture, across the faces of those who had survived the night. Elena felt it like a whisper, a quiet, steady reminder that life continues, even after the storm. She thought of her son, hidden but alive, and felt a renewed determination. The pain, the years of uncertainty, the betrayals, they had all led to this fragile moment of clarity. She would protect him, she would guide him, and she would ensure that the truth, however difficult or painful, would not be buried again. Lucas spoke quietly, almost reverently. We have a lot to do. The house, the truths, the people involved, none of it ends here. But for the first time in a long time, we have hope, and that's worth everything. Elena nodded, She opened the locket one last time, gazing at the photographs of her son, and then at herself, smiling softly through tears. "Hope," she whispered. "It's all we have to hold on to." The sunlight spilled fully into the room now, illuminating the dust motes dancing lazily in the air, the small imperfections in the walls, the traces of a night that had tested every limit of endurance and courage. Elena breathed deeply, finally allowing herself to feel the weight lift, if only slightly, knowing that while the past could never be changed, her future was hers to shape. And in that moment, as the house settled into quiet stillness, Elena realized that life, though forever changed, had given her something precious. The chance to embrace the new normal, forged in struggle, truth, and the unbreakable bonds of love. Lucas placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's time to rebuild. Together." Sophia smiled, eyes glimmering. "Together." Elena closed the locket one last time, tucking it into her coat pocket. She knew the road ahead would not be easy, that shadows lingered, and that the people they trusted might still conceal secrets. But for the first time, she felt ready to face them. She stepped toward the doorway, toward the morning light, toward the future, and whispered softly, "Whatever comes, we endure. And we protect what matters most." The house seemed to exhale around her, a quiet affirmation that the worst was over, for now. And as the sun rose over the city, Elena understood that truth, though painful, is the only path to freedom, and that courage, love, and vigilance are the foundations upon which any new normal must be built.